What is marketing going to even mean in 2027? People are like, what do you think you're going to be doing in 5 years? I'm like, you don't have a freaking clue what you're doing in 18 months. And truthfully, as everything changes extraordinarily fast in the next few years, if you don't re-examine what it really means to live and breathe within your corporate world, you're going to lose to a team of 2 people and 10,000 agents.
All right, welcome back. Stephanie from Astral here. Today, we're in for what I'm sure will be an enlightening conversation with Peter Hollens, a visionary creator, entrepreneur who's transformed his experience as a digital artist with over 9 million followers into multiple thriving businesses. As the founder of InHouse Creators and Legendary Vocals, Peter helps both creators and companies navigate the evolving landscape of digital content, AI, and sustainable business growth. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, thank you. I'm stoked to be here.
Super happy to have you. One reason I invited you is I noticed your LinkedIn tagline these days says AI Whisperer for Creators, which is quite thrilling and exciting.
Yeah, it's a fun name. I think in general, my hope is just to be able to open the door for people who are interested in my a little bit more aggressive approach on the way that I'm looking at things in order to help creatives embrace it.
That's great. Yeah, I've noticed when you share your experiments with AI, it's been interesting to see the way you leverage it not only to create music and think about the opportunities there, but how you're growing your audience and building your businesses. And so I'm curious how you envision AI tools integrating into business growth.
Gosh, the answer is just yes. It's almost like you get those silly comments online where you get one of those answers or one of those questions, and then the answer to the pun is just yes.
Yes.
But whether it's horizontally integrated or vertically integrated agentic behavior, or if it's just like automation that has context behind it specifically for the business, it's quintessential to the success of the business moving forward. So we could be extraordinarily specific or broad, but in general, you must be utilizing AI if you want to succeed moving forward, because if you don't, someone else will, and ultimately you will fail. It doesn't matter how intelligent or how interesting you are. If you are Steve Jobs and you're not using AI and someone who's just an average Joe is, yeah, I think you're going to lose. And I think in general, people just need to buy in. Yeah, you might want to ask me a lot of questions specifically, but
Yes. The answer is yes.
the answer is yes.
I got it. I love it. Okay, you've built multiple successful businesses from scratch. It's incredibly impressive. A big piece of your practice is teaching creators how to do it for themselves. I'm curious, what's your framework for identifying opportunities that actually serve creators?
That's such a great question. I think it's multifaceted. First and foremost, creatives need to be able to create multiple different revenue streams, especially since they're building on foundations that they don't own. The ways in which, if we're talking about creators, like people that are out to get people to follow them based on what they offer, what they do, whether it's fun, educational, they're building on somebody else's land. It's borrowed. And so then they need to create multiple different income streams, whether it's e-commerce, membership, brand deals, ad revenue. The answer, again, is just yes. So I look at it from an educational standpoint and utilizing myself as the guinea pig and telling them what has worked for me and what has not, and really trying to get younger creatives and people who want to be creators to focus a little less on the fact that they're usually on a younger age chasing fame and fortune and the opposite, and interest in partners, and focusing on the fact that they're truly building a business, and in order to sustain it, they need to act as such. And I think the conversation that we're having is how vital it is to integrate AI into the fabric of anything and everything they do in order to encapsulate the best of every idea they have, and also never forget any idea they ever have moving forward, right? Which I think you and I can probably agree to and agree on. And the thing that I've been really pushing out really hard the last few months is just that we now have a superpower that humans have never had ever before, which is we have the ability to create our own context window of ourselves, anything and everything that we say out loud, and then grab that for our own use into the future. Whether that product hasn't been created yet or not doesn't really matter. But if you go back into history, and if you could say to the powers that be, the Albert Einsteins of the world, that everything that they ever thought of, every idea they ever had would have been captured, I don't truly believe society would even remotely look like it does today, right? And I think that's part of the acceleration in which we are now about to witness. You know, now that every actual idea that we have that comes in or is remixed based on somebody else's, I just think our growth is going to be insane. And so I would rather be a leader and evangelist of that within the creative world, because I think that as creatives, we are so immediately dispositioned to fight that. And I truly believe if we were to cut down humans into like different verticals and humanities, if that was just taken out, I'm extremely biased, but I would say I don't know what the reason of having consciousness and living is if art and music and creativity gets cut out. And so I want that type of an individual to lean in and lean in hard. And almost the opposite is occurring due to the fact that the companies on the Gen AI side are initially going after the heart of what makes us tick. And I think that's so difficult for us to deal with. And I think it's extraordinarily scary and creates even further creator burnout that is already existing, because of my first point being that we're building on borrowed land. Anyway, I think I went off on a huge tangent, but that's the bulk of what I'm focusing on right now.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of stuff in there to unpack. I think what you've put your finger on is that we're in a moment of incredible anxiety and also an incredible opportunity. And I think like how to be strategic in this moment is something that I know it is very much the way, in my mind, you've shown up for other creators, where you've really been trying to help people thread this needle and understand this is a lean in moment and here's how. You are known for this kind of unfiltered advice. So I'm curious, what kind of common mistakes I specifically was curious about AI marketing. Do you see creators?
Sure.
You can go broader than that, but because I think for me, we're an AI marketing business and I feel like there's so much opportunity. But if you think more broadly, just in general, from a strategic point of view, what common mistakes are creators getting wrong with AI?
If I were to put a question back on you and ask you to define what you believe marketing is in 2025, then I could actually provide a nuanced answer.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We recently got into this, my coworkers and I actually feel like in 2025, the concept of what is ownable IP, what's free, what do you monetize, has really been flipped on its head. I think you are right in that we have an opportunity to essentially create a context window of ourselves. And so then who you are as a creator, it's how you authentically and humanly show up and create connections with other people. And then everything else is up for grabs. And I think that's great. I've been working with creators for 20 years now, and maybe before that, artists, before they were called creators. And, I think the fact that you have to do it all as an artist or a creative person is just too much. And so the fact that in 2025, you get to take a bunch of stuff off your plate and automate a bunch of stuff is a good thing.
Yeah, I really do hope that creatives really truly lean into automating the infrastructure of that business so that they can focus. If we separate people who determine themselves to be a creator because they can't stop themselves from focusing on creating art, like people who are inclined to like, if I don't create art, then I might as well not be alive, versus those that are truthfully, those that are just chasing money, sex, and fame. And I think there's a real separation of church and state there. And if we can get the people who are really focused on creating art as like just innately who they are, the light that they have inside them that they have to let out has to come through the lens of art. Those are the people that I want to find. Those are the people that I want to evangelize to build the infrastructure of their business and lean into AI. You dodged the marketing question, though, I think.
I did.
Yeah.
How did I dodge it? It might have
Well,
been an accident.
I honestly despise the word marketing and I despise the word content. One of my people that I look up to and I've always looked up to since he came into my life, Jack Conte, has recently started referring to that content in and of itself is such a dirty word now because it is truly something that we just provide fodder to a feed and an algorithm that owns us. And so I think if we can find the people who do truly and have to create the art and then redefine what is marketing going to even mean in 2027? People are like, what do you think you're going to be doing in 5 years? I'm like, you don't have a freaking clue what you're doing in 18 months. You know why? Because the world is going to be so different because
Yeah.
we're okay. Wait. I don't know where I got this, so I'm going to give credit to whoever said it, and it did seem like it was very legitimate statistic. The difference between the type of human who isn't allowed even in the army, in the military, because of their intellectual capacity, and that of Albert Einstein is a multiple of 2.4x. So what happens when we already have the ability in its current state as of February 4th, anyone who has the ability to use the deep research button on OpenAI to pretty much utilize a similar IQ of Albert Einstein, where are we going to be in 18 months? Can you even remotely fathom what a 5x of that looks like? Even a 2x? And what is the ramifications of that? We have no
Yeah.
idea.
Okay. So a couple things there. So one is it's not, and I know this from running programs for people for my whole life. It's not what you can do, it's do you know how to do it? So for example, I don't know how many years ago now, I did this incredible data visualization workshop with a bunch of folks. And it was actually sponsored by Google. And Google was like, we want to do a data viz challenge. We have this incredible data set and we want people to make cool stuff from it. And I was like, dear Google, just because you have a data set doesn't mean people know how to make cool shit with it.
Of
And
course.
so we got extra money to do like a weekend long deep dive. It was like a Skillshare where we just taught each other how to hack. We showed each other inspiring
Let's
examples,
go.
stuff together. And I think it's the same with the AI stuff. Just because we have Albert Einstein in our back pockets now doesn't mean that we're going to be doing yes, I agree with you. 18 months from now, we do not know what the world is going to look like because of this. But I don't know it doesn't matter. I'm not sure if folks are going to adopt the opportunity
Totally.
to be super
I
intelligent.
was having this conversation when I was picking up food with one of my best friends at a steakhouse last night when I was just gushing AI to him. And he's just like a beautiful, amazing, normal, 9 to 5 human, amazing heart, but not like my mind at all. I
Yeah.
am neurodivergent as all hell, completely neurotypical. And I'm trying to tell him, this is what you need to do. This is the power you got to, I'll buy you this product in order for you to be able to use it. And he's like a loan officer. And I'm like, and we can basically train it in the way that you talk to people so that in 24/7, they can talk to you about a loan anytime they want. And he got it, but he didn't really get it. But he had a really astute observation. He's like, so what's going to happen in 2 years to those people over there who don't care about any of this? Are they just still going to be here doing their thing? And I was like, probably. But those that do lean in, the 1% who truly do and utilize this have such an incredible opportunity, and that innovation opportunity has never looked like this, never been like this. And I think that's the coolest aspect of this and why I want to educate and teach. And maybe the rappers at that point will become easy and sexy enough for people to be like, oh my gosh, I just tell it what I want it to create and it just creates me a passive income business. Who knows? It might
Yeah.
be feasible.
I would get back to why I wanted to actually talk to you specifically about this stuff because so I worked at Kickstarter for a long time and I did workshops for folks and I would do talks. And one thing I noticed, there was this tendency, I used to call it bro solve world. And this idea that, oh, because now I can raise money to do anything. What could I possibly do? And they would always come up with the dumbest ideas. It would be like, there was one guy I met and no, I feel bad. He'll never see this, so it's fine. But his whole thing was oh, it's too annoying to make my bed in the morning. So I'm making this Kickstarter campaign that it takes me less time to make my bed. I'm like, really? With all the privilege and resources you have at your fingertips, you're solving bed making? Just don't make your bed, bro. So this is the thing with you and the education you do for creators and the way that you've been educating around AI and also how they think about their businesses and passive income. I feel like the critical piece here is the unlock, helping people sort of creatively understand the opportunity. And one thing I love that you champion is building with creators rather than for them, which Jack Conti has done super well with Patreon. And I'm curious now with this Albert Einstein in our back pocket, how does AI change the dynamic? What does it mean to build with creators in 2025?
I do see those two things as two different things. So if I separate AI from creators for a moment, because I do think the hybrid figure between those two things is like the unicorn. But if consumer businesses that are focused on getting consumers' attention, and specifically creator economy businesses, aren't truly like building along and with and like actually like having creators be part of building the product or providing feedback without any hesitancy, you're just doing such an incredible disservice to yourself, because there is this second and third inning now for creators where we don't necessarily want to be in the camera anymore. We don't want to be in front of it. We're tired of it. And there's some incredible entrepreneurs out there. And whether or not you give them the name of chief creative officer or whatever, but if you allow them to be horizontally integrated into the fabric of your business at like an EVP level, or as a consultant or a creator in residence, or however you want to call it, so that you just actually let them be in the room where it happens, then you're actually going to win. Now, if you allowed the Venn diagram to incorporate a creator that is also bought into the entire integration of AI into the fabric of who they are, I think that is the ultimate co-founder of any company moving forward. Not only do you have the ability to completely and totally understand community building, go to market on the most nuanced level, but now you have integrated something into your business that can help build and code as well. I'm very biased, so this is coming from the most biased perspective, but what an incredible persona to invest in once you just say what you want to build, or you give it its idea, and then it just builds for you, and maybe it goes out and raises for you. In the meantime, before we will eat everybody's lunch, you should be building alongside your fellow creator that you bring in, and you should have on your cap table regardless.
I think you made a good point, which is one, your number one point that you champion a lot, which is that you shouldn't just be like engaging creators as brand activation faces.
No. Distribution. There's two different ways in which we are used, and that's a very important word. There's two different ways in which we are used.
Yeah.
One is to just create your content for you and like go away. We are not junior employees. Some people, absolutely, when they're growing up, it's great to have that type of a job in college, right out of high school. It depends on the human, because it doesn't really matter, honestly, on the education side. Or just to use us for distribution. And those two things truly, as a employee, need to be separated as church and state. Because the following in which your employees have are not yours. You don't hire them to get their distribution. You hire them for your 9 to 5 work. But if you're not offering them some additional value on top of what they provide to you on a 9 to 5 contractual W-2 basis to get access to their distribution for something else, then I'm so sorry. It's the stupidest move ever. The fact you have people who understand the absolute fabric of your company, your mission, your product, and you're like hamstringing them because of some technicality and rules in which you're looking at it through an antiquated lens, and like HR can't figure it out. I'm like, yo, get out of your own way.
It's not just that. As someone who's been on the inside of so many of these companies, and I do think it's going back to what we were saying about AI and AI adoption. I think it's a lack of will. I think like MBAs don't want an artist telling them what to do. That is what I have experienced. As the person who leads the creator team at so many companies, it's when I go to my marketing partners to talk about like, hey, look at all this cool stuff. They're like, oh, but that's not what drives business. That's not coming from my growth marketing playbook.
Totally. The fascinating thing about that in general is people who are living and breathing within worlds in which they're actually following rules and names have, I'm like, A human is so much different than a name that you give them. I just don't, I don't adhere to any of that. That's just all BS. It's all contrived. And you're a sophomore now, you're a junior, you're a private in the military. I'm like, all of that doesn't matter. What does that human do? What are they capable of? How
Yeah.
about you be open to it? And if the individual who is taking feedback isn't open to it, there's something critically wrong with the fabric of your company. And truthfully, as everything changes extraordinarily fast in the next few years, if you don't re-examine what it really means to live and breathe within your corporate world, you're going to lose to a team of 2 people and 10,000 agents.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
You cannot move as fast as one human making all of the executive decisions. And if you aren't open to innovating so quickly, good luck.
Yeah.
Everybody's because your employees that are intelligent that are going to catch hold of this are going to quit and go start their own company because they're going to catch wind of, wait a second, why do I deal with this boss who's kind of a dick, has pushed me into a position where I'm only doing one thing at a time in a different iteration of like the factory. I mean, it is corporate, no matter how you want to look at it. And it is so fun to build companies. And I think people are going to stop being scared of it when they know that they can actually build it alongside something that will do it with them and for them and let them teach and educate themselves while they do it. It's so fun.
Let's run with that. So I feel like a big piece of what you've done with your creator education work is trying to help people own their power and be excited and not afraid of starting companies. We know with this new AI world that we live in, that's so many times more possible. So what challenges should people be preparing for? Is there like, okay, I can do this with all these tools at my fingertips. This is all possible. What do they need to watch out for?
I mean, I think if you aren't earning passive income while you're sleeping, you are currently in a really dangerous position moving forward. I don't think you should be doing anything with the time that you have other than friends and family to replenish yourself, other than leaning in and learning about the newest tools and opportunities out there. Because there's just never been a greater time than to learn because we're the human race, we're learning at such an accelerated rate that you spending the fraction of time each and every single day to just learn the next new thing and then go out on a walk and talk to yourself and then put that into a context window and ask yourself questions that you just talked about to yourself. I mean, it's like, oh man, I kind of have like an entire, like, this is what you should do. But like, I'm recording every word I say. I'm already doing it. Everyone should. I'm not recording words that you're saying, but every single thing that I say is going to be captured now. And I truly believe that it's a superpower. And if you're not doing it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Okay, one last question. So why?
Why not?
What is it like? Are you like, okay, I'm not going to let this go by. I'm not going to squander this resource. I'm going to capture it and then I'll figure it out as I go what I'm going to do with it. What do you see as
Yeah.
opportunity?
Why wouldn't you begin capturing the things that you know will be then used in the future that are just ideas that you have? Why would you ever not want to capture ideas you have? And why would you not want to lean into AI if for no other reason than just being able to have the productivity so that you can then focus on the things in life that are truly worthwhile and why we have consciousness, right? If it is in order to just get over a certain revenue so that you can then focus more on friends and family, like awesome. I think both of these things need to be done in complete and total separation, which is get the heck away from all of your devices and be in the moment while simultaneously leaning in and utilizing the absolute highest technology where we are in the moment that's adjusting each and every single day. So I haven't used my own social media for years and years because I had to. I feel like you need to have the ability to do so. Like at our family, like when we get home from work, there's no devices. They're like locked up in gun safes so that we can actually be in the
That's
moment, right?
dangerous.
And I think, is it? I don't think so. And and then I think being able to like have that control. Mm.
I guess when I say why is I'm thinking of that saying, that idea, the idea is the 1%, the rest is the 99%. That's what you do with your ideas. So you're
Mhm.
recording everything you're saying, you're capturing your ideas. You said if you're not making money while you sleep, then you're behind. What is the actionable advice you have for folks there?
Just putting those two things into fruition, first and foremost, it can be as easy as downloading a Super Whisper app on your phone, going out on walks, specifically spending like 5 minutes getting away from any type of human so you don't correlate that face to thinking about yourself. So you can just talk out loud in a stream of consciousness, record that stream of consciousness so that you can then capture that. Even if you only look at it as a digital journal, one in which you can use in the future to have answers for your great grandchildren where they wanted to ask you like, how did you deal with this? Or even then taking all of that context into a window and asking like, what toxic traits do you see me building up, or relationships that I've brought up in the past that you think I could examine, or ways in which you can use that information so that you can have more nuance when you talk to your therapist or to your doctor. It's just like being able to actually implement that moving forward. And so coming up with any ideas and putting that into fruition and leaning into agentic behavior that is starting to be created, where you just literally like type in what you want it to do and it's going to start doing it. Like we're so close to that. So
I don't know how to make more digital products or grow successful businesses like you, but I do feel like I'm closer to understanding the way you think about it all. So that's helpful. Thank you.
I appreciate all the complimentary words. In the end, I think all of this is fun, and I don't know, it's fun to like level up. It's a little bit of that. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're here for.